Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome. Today is Monday, January 24th, 2022. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. Welcome, Frankie. You are number one. I hope everyone's having a good day today. Starting off their work week. If you go into the office or work from home, whatever type of work you do, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Okay. Well, I'm going to get started. Today, I want to talk about the word bitch. Okay, the word bitch. Why do women use this word to describe other women? Why do men use this word towards women? Why do some women have no problem with this word and feel it's a word of friendship? When did the word become okay? Welcome, Chill Will. First time on my show. Welcome, welcome. And everyone else will just trickle in. So, I have a problem with this word. I always have. I see it just like a racial slur. I don't think it's cool. I don't think women should say, "Hey, bitch," whatever. I know gay people tend to use this word towards women, and they may think that is okay, but I don't like this word. I think it is. I think it's a slur. I don't, like I said, I don't like it when some men use it towards women, and I don't like it when women use it. So, when did the word become okay? When did it, become okay to use that word um, when you're watching what is supposed to be a sitcom? I'm dating myself, but I grew up when, you know, I was a child of the '70s. Okay, and you didn't use that word. Then all of a sudden, it seems like that word has just crept up into sitcoms, and people laugh. But it's funny how they'll use the word bitch, but a word like, the F word, whatever, they will bleep that out. So I also have a question about that. So um, those are my questions to today, and I will open it up to anybody who wants to come on. And I would just, just really, if someone thinks that I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If you disagree with me, again, we don't, this is a show where you can agree, disagree, just keep it nice. Okay, so I'm going to send some invites out. And Frankie, I know your situation, and you are more than welcome, of course, to be in the chat if you would like to. But I do also want to know, what do you all think on another aspect, the social harm of the word bitch? Um, some people, again, see it as a slang word, and it's usually towards a woman. And usually, when they use it towards a woman, that woman is not reasonable. She's aggressive. She's dominant. Um, I personally think it's used more towards women of color than white women. Um, and when they use it like that, I see it as a slur. But is there a social harm in using that word? Um, is the word bitch something that you want your daughters to hear, or even your sons? Is this a word that um can be so ingrained in you when you're younger that you automatically use it when you're older and you don't think that it's a big deal? uh And when I say social harms, I mean, is it something where, like, if you're in a situation where you're in a relationship, you know, growing up, you see your mom, you know, being beaten by your father, and he's calling her a bitch, or you know, your parents are, you know, calling your sisters bitch or whatever. Is this something that you can take with you when you get older, and you start to use it in your own relationships? You start to use it, you know, in your own family. You know, is that something else that I would like to, you know, I mean, am I wrong? Chill. You have the mic, and welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I am good. I'm good. I'm glad to see.
You giving me a big smile. I can feel it. I can't see it, but I can feel it. I'll give it one right back.
So, what do you
Yeah.
think?
And so what happened when somebody really acting like a bitch? What I supposed to do? I want to know. What am I supposed to do when somebody start acting like male, even the female or male? What they start really acting like a bitch? What am I supposed to say?
Okay, so can't you say something like, you know, you know, you're really acting like an ass, or you know, you really need to stop or something? But I mean, the word bitch is just so. I mean, it's
You
just
see how it
so.
came off your tongue so good? Now,
But
if you said that somebody that you say it so well, though. Oh my gosh.
but honestly though, I think I use that, and be perfectly honest with you, I never used it growing up. I did use it in college until one day I heard a man use it towards another student, or another, you know, male student use it toward another female student, and the way he said it, and it just came out so harsh.
Mm,
I literally stopped. I literally have not used that since I was in school. Since I was in, I think I was a sophomore in college, and I literally stopped.
mm.
And you know, and then when I would, and when I stopped using it, I started taking notice of, like, some of my friends who would greet people, say, "Hey, bitch," you know, whatever. And someone said that to me, I'm like, "Oh, no, I am not a bitch," you know. And
Oh, you can't
I
be that
mean,
person though. I'm a royal queen of Zamunda.
honestly, I just don't
Uh,
like that word. So,
I got you. I got you.
but why do you think
Understandable.
it's why do you think that it's an acceptable word?
Well, first of all, I mean, culturally, and I don't know. I mean, I'm imagining you're African American.
Yes, I am.
I mean, just by so that's just not a thing we do. You know, that's just not a thing we do. Come on, it's just like certain things different cultures do. It just doesn't do that. That's number one. Um, it because in different cultures, you know, and it's just not the same. It's just that the word doesn't carry that much weight. You know, it doesn't. So for us, it's different. You get called a black woman a bitch, and she might wage all war on your whole life for the rest of her life. Yeah, call a white girl a bitch. She's like, she might call you one back. She might say, yeah, you're right, I am. And you better leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? You better watch out. So it's just the connotation of it and the aspect of just culturally is just different. And so, and then the
Okay,
gay community is different
can
too.
I can I stop you for a moment? So you really think that hey Bahram and Mimi, thank you for joining. So Chill, you really think that on a cultural level that black women see the word bitch a lot
Worse.
harsher than, or
Yeah.
worse
Yeah.
than white women?
Unequivocally, without a doubt.
That's
And we're speaking in
interesting.
general. We're speaking in general. Yes, absolutely. Like that's not even the question. You know, it's just like um certain words that just don't hold much weight in certain cultures. Like it doesn't. And that was one. Like I've never called a woman that before. Just not literally, like to her face on purpose. And maybe except one time and she probably deserved it. I'm sure she deserved it at that point, but I typically don't call women that. But I wouldn't even call her that. I'd probably say you're acting like one right now. And
But even if
even
you say
then,
you're acting like one, isn't that the same thing as calling a woman one?
no, but it's a big difference. But still, I get you. I get you saying. But the fact is that it's okay. It's expression. Words are words, and depending on how much power you're gonna put into them, they have value. It's just I don't. It's nothing wrong with
Chill.
expression.
I disagree with that because to me, words matter. So does that mean if it's just an expression, then if someone used a
But do
racial
they?
slur,
Can I ask this though? But do words matter?
I think in some cases, yes, especially when you're younger.
So they
Let
matter when
me.
you're younger and not when you're
Well,
older?
no. I mean, did you hear the
Okay, so
story? Okay, go ahead.
let me drive you to the point I'm trying to make. If someone on the side, like, so for instance, let me just go with the N word, which let me make it quick. Dude calls me N word. Now, I could do two things. I can get pissed off and knock him out, or I could do like I did and like something wrong with this guy, and I just laughed at him. Watch him turn blatantly pissed off red, walk to his car and scowl at me literally for the next 30 seconds while I walked into the store and he just walked to his car, or do the opposite. It's just you give them much power as you need them to have. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a person. I don't have a button on my forehead. I will never give that person control over me. So whatever you say, I'm not letting. No, you don't get that over me ever. So what I'm
Okay.
going to do, I'm going to let it pass. So it doesn't have
Okay.
that much weight.
I understand that.
Same thing with
But
this.
if you were to call a younger person the N word or call a younger person a bitch, and when I say young, I'm talking about,
Mhm.
say, their elementary school, whatever.
Mhm.
Don't you think that matters? Don't you think that if you're calling that person that name, that they're going to go home crying to their mother, father, whatever? I mean, don't you think that hurts? Because
What?
I have had people wait seriously. Even to this day, I have had people call me a bitch, and I'm sorry, especially when they're supposed to be friends or whatever. And it's like, seriously? And I may
But
not
it's
have
different
said
type of bitches though. Like you
no,
like, hey
no,
bitch, or
no,
like,
no, no,
shut
no,
up,
no,
bitch.
no, no,
That's
no,
a
no,
different type of
no,
bitch.
no,
Come on
no,
now.
no, no, no,
Can
no,
we?
no.
But no,
Chill,
I want to. Can we acknowledge that?
chill, hold on, because I want to go to Bahram because I want to ask him a question, and then because I want him to just answer something for me. Hello, Bahram, welcome.
Hi. Hope you're all well tonight.
What up, Barbara?
All well. Okay, so
Yeah.
you are in Scotland. So I have a
Yeah.
question for you. Is
Yeah.
the word bitch a cultural thing? I mean, do women or men use that word towards each other where you
No,
live in your country?
I wouldn't say that one was a common word. The word that we use a lot more is a way worse word, and I won't even repeat it. But it's actually, yeah, that's it. Yeah, they actually use that as a term of endearment here in Scotland. We're more like even I moved 3 hours away from my hometown to a city called Glasgow, and I'm working with men obviously in the workshop, and some of the banter, like friendly banter that they use towards each other, I cringe with because I'm not used to it, and it is a Scottish thing. I think it's more a Scottish thing. And if my wife, who is from California, knew or heard some of these conversations, she would be mortified. But it's just the culture. It's just the way that we are. Like some of the times, I think fights are about to break out with some of the banter, but it's just banter. We're just friends at the end of the day after it. So, no, that word isn't used, but no.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to Mimi. Mimi, thank you for waiting patiently. What do you think? You want to weigh in on this word?
Sally, give me a second, okay?
Sure. You want me to pass the mic?
Can I
Yeah.
can I come back in
Okay.
and just say something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I've just pulled up to the gym, so I might not be able to talk tonight. But if the gym's quiet, I'll chime back in if I've got anything to say. So just skip me. But what I was going to say is, maybe as the night show goes on, and I'm not trying to take over your show or anything, but what I would like to know with these phrases and words, if this is going to get into the paradigm of freedom of speech, and if, like, when you were talking to Chill Will just now, what I was thinking is, what do you want to see happen to people that call people names? Like, is that what you're inferring? Like, I know it's not nice being called.
No. I'm not
No.
trying to take this into a freedom of speech and
Oh, okay.
for
Okay.
First Amendment, Second Amendment. No, I'm just
Okay.
saying this particular word. I mean, it's just a word that
Yeah.
I personally don't like. So, I'm not
Okay.
trying to take this onto a whole different. No, I'm not trying to go there.
Okay. Well, that's my bad. Sorry. I just wondered if it was one of those shows that it was like, that word offends you, you don't like that word, and that's fine, because we've all got our words. I've got my words I don't like and I will never say. But I was just wondering if that was where the conversation was going to go.
No,
Then
I mean,
I,
no, that's not where
okay.
I was taking it. I'm
Okay.
just saying that I think that calling someone a bitch is something that I personally don't like, and I've been called that name by men and women, and it's something that it's hard for me to get over, and I do not forget, and it's just a nasty word to me, and I see it on the same level as a racial slur. That's me. I have never,
Great.
so.
What's the racial part of that word? Why is it
Well,
connected to
again,
race?
when I say no, I don't mean that it's connected to race. I'm saying it's akin to a racial slur. I just think that's how nasty
Okay.
I think that word is. I think it's just a really nasty word.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll jump off now. I'm just heading into the gym, so
okay.
I'll
Well,
stay tuned. Thanks.
okay. Thank you for coming in. Okay, Crucible Man, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I liked what Chill Will had to say about giving people control. I look at it a couple ways. One, on the one hand, they are just words, and they will have whatever meaning you decide to attach to it, not the other person, what you decide to attach to it. The other thing is, words do matter, so they are important. But I don't think it's right to use vulgarity. I mean, I swear like a Marine at certain times, but I try to keep it in context. I don't do it gratuitously. I don't do it, using swear words in replacement of better words. I mean, I swear in the moment. I don't use it as part of my general vernacular. So I would never speak to anybody in a pejorative way that would label them in any kind of way. And I understand what you're saying when somebody calls you a name, and it's almost always directed at women, the B word, although I've heard men, use it kiddingly with each other, but we all know it's directed at a woman. But even in the situation where somebody were to say, let's say you were having an exchange or whatever the situation was, and somebody had reason to call you a bitch. Now, what they're probably saying is, in that moment, in that context, in that situation, you are behaving as a person with characteristics of someone who might be a bitch. Does it mean you're always a bitch? Of course not. Does it mean you're exhibiting characteristics of an ugly person in that particular moment that reminds them of a certain word? And we all have our moments where we're not as good as we should be, and we do things that would cause us and should cause us, at least temporarily, to be labeled as a certain way. It doesn't mean tomorrow that's the same case, and it doesn't mean yesterday it was the same case. But it is just a word, and it is just applicable to that particular situation, and it should not be extrapolated out to define your character on an ongoing basis.
Well, see, I have to disagree with that because, when you're called a bitch and, if, you say it's what is not you, the person who is calling you the word, but the person who is receiving it, how they take it. To call someone a bitch and you're in that situation where that person thinks that you're a malicious evil person, because that's basically, what the slang is that you're controlling, you're aggressive, and you're dominant. The same could be said for the same person who you're in that argument with, and especially if you're going to call someone a bitch and they don't respond, in kind, and start calling you names, then I can come back and say, well, who's the bitch? And like I said, I've been called that name, by both men and women. And for the most part, one who's been on this show knows I hold grudges. And there are some things that I don't forget. And especially if you're going to call someone a bitch and you don't say you're sorry, but you've done it more than once. Sheila, I understand what you're saying when you say that it's the importance that you put onto that word, but why should I have to put importance to a word that shouldn't come my way anyway? I mean, there are other words that you could use besides the word bitch. I just see it as I see it as a slap, and I just think that it's a mean, nasty word. And people who are using it, in my opinion, are mean and nasty in that moment, if you were going to talk about the moment. So, Chill, you want to disagree with me or agree with me, or tell me to be quiet, or what do you think? As I'm trying to get a gnat. So, Chill, you there? Okay.
Okay.
You there?
My bad. I was helping somebody clean out their car. It's snowing out here, y'all. Like ridiculously snowing. So I don't even know if I muted myself, but if I didn't, I'm sorry.
No, you did. So.
Okay, cool. But now I was trying to listen as best I can while I was freezing my butt off. But in reference to this word, I'm not coming off of the fact that it holds weight to depend on who calls you that. I'm just into the word. It's just, I don't care if people I don't care about call me a name, and especially the kids, I would get my butt whooped if I came home and I was crying about what somebody called me. I'm about to get my butt whooped. Like I can't afford that. Like, what? Do you know this person? Is this person like close to you? No, who cares?
Okay, but do you think that someone in your family or a friend should call you a bitch? If
they did, they'd probably be in a brat. But I can't let words get to me. You got to learn. You got to be better than that. And as an adult, to be emotionally stable, more stable. You might not like it, but it has to roll off your back. It has to.
I have to disagree, but go ahead.
But I mean, I'm not saying ignore your feelings. You always want to recognize what you're feeling, whatever, but you got to learn how to get over yourself, because that's going to happen every day. Somebody going to not like you, going to call you a name. You're just going to start just feeling. No, you're going to, like, people are going to say stupid things, and you got to realize that coming from them sometimes, it may not, that's the worst thing, to be in a situation where somebody really is, they're jovial, or they're coming towards you, and they be like, and your girl might be a girl, like, hey, bitch, and you like, first of all, don't call me, like, you're just going to ruin a whole mood just because you have a super rule that no one knows about except you. You know what I'm saying? And she doesn't mean it like that.
It may be a super rule for me, but my friends know that I don't go there, so they don't go there.
But even when you tell them, it can be tactful. Be like, yeah, you ain't gotta say nothing now. Like, you like, hey girl, you call me a bitch again, we gonna fight. Girl, come on, let's go get something to eat. It's depending on how you shut it down. You know what I'm saying? It's depending on how you approach it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you don't want to take the mood away. I've seen so many people do that, and that's what I don't like the most. You take the energy out of a situation that was really not intended to be that way, and just shut it down because of a rule that no one really knows, and that they may not take it the same way you do, and you have to take intent into consideration.
And I understand that, but at the same time, it's like when you're in an argument with someone, and put it like this: when people argue with people, when they say things, they say it to me with intent. They know exactly what they're saying.
Oh, they're
So
hurting your feelings. Yeah.
So well, no, I'm not even saying hurting my feelings, but I think that when people are in arguments or things are getting riled up or whatever, I think people know exactly what they are saying, especially if they say it to you more than once. So I'm going to ask Mimi, what do you think? And welcome again.
Don't call me no
Tell her.
bitch. I don't give a fuck who you is. Do not call me no bitch, whether you playing or you not. My girlfriends do not call me a bitch. And I damn near about to break up with my man if he called me one. So, yeah, I don't like that word.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I just feel like, you could call me anything else. Why you gotta call me a bitch? And that word is it sounds vulgar. You know what I mean?
Yes, it does. It is a vulgar word. Exactly. That is exactly what I'm saying. You can come up with anything else, but why do you have to call me a bitch?
Exactly. You can call me a stupid motherfucker. Anything
Wow.
Wait, chill, hold on. Let Mimi has the mic. Go ahead, Mimi.
So I just feel like don't do that. I don't know. I'm more classier, so I don't like a female to be all in public. What's up, bitch? Like, I just feel like that is so, I don't know. It's just not classy. It's a bad look. And if I don't like a man calling me that, I won't want a female to call me that. But now, Chill Will said something about, I think I caught the ass end of it when he said, what did he say? He said something about you can ruin the mood, because you have this super rule. But the thing is, if you don't even know that a person doesn't like that, then why do it in the first place? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Chill, hold on.
You know that this word offends some people. Everybody know that. Everybody know that this word offends some people. So until you know if that person likes that word or not, then why would you even do it? I feel like you catch my vibe. You gonna know my vibe. You gonna know if you could say that to me or not. If you're an energy person, you know if you're gonna be able to say that to me. So that's how I feel. Don't be out here calling people bitches if you don't even know they values, they morals, what they stand for, and if they like it or not. So yeah.
Okay. Before I keep going, I just want to say that on my show, I pass the mic. So if you can, please refrain from just jumping in, whatever, because I do want to give everyone an opportunity to talk. So I do pass the mic. So Crucible Man, what do you want to say?
I agree with what Mimi said, and I've already stated, I'm not a fan of profanity when you're talking to another person. But I think what we're missing here is we're kind of we're missing the bigger picture. And I typed it into the chat box, and I'll just say it right now. What ends up happening is we tend to get hyper fixated on the nomenclature or the terminology, the actual word itself, and we ignore the behavior itself. And I typed in the chat box, what is more important, behavior or the words that describe the behavior? So what ends up happening in a lot of these cases is once a word comes out, in this case, it's the word bitch. Once that word comes out, the conversation stops. There's no longer a conversation about the behavior that led to the word. It's strictly focused on the word. So you're turning the tables back on the person who used the epithet, yet you're completely taking yourself off the hook for whatever behavior led up to that person calling you that word. And again, to be clear, I'm not in favor of ever using profanity in any exchange with another person. It's disrespectful and it's not helpful. However, again, I'm going to repeat myself one more time. We tend to over-focus on the word, and therefore the behavior gets swept under the rug, and that means the behavior is going to be repeated. So no lessons get learned when we focus exclusively on the word and downplay the behavior.
I am going to
I
100.
love you, Chris.
Wait, hold on, Mimi. I am going to 100% disagree with that, because while you're so busy saying that we are now focused on the word, except for the person's behavior that made you call that person a bitch or whatever. What about your behavior? What about the behavior of the person who said that word in the first place? Are they now allowed to put themselves now higher than you? That's a bunch of BS.
You just you made my point, Solid. Now we're talking about me instead of the behavior.
No. I
You just made
am
my point.
saying, no, I didn't. Because I am asking, at what point do you say, okay, if I call, okay, we're having an argument. You call me a bitch. Okay, so apparently you're thinking that whatever I said or did or however I'm acting, I am a bitch. What about you? So does that mean that, you're saying that, we're so focused on that word, but that word came from me. That word came from me. I call you a bitch. So now, you're upset or whatever because I called you that word, and now we're talking about that word. But what about me, the person who called you a bitch? Was I acting like a bitch at all? Was I being rude and nasty? So both people, I'm sorry, but I have been called that word, and I disagree, because whoever you're in that argument with, and like I said, I've been called that word by a man. I've been called that word by a woman, and both of us are in this argument. So should both of us be a bitch? And then to stoop that low and to call somebody a bitch, like I said, I see it the same way as calling someone a racial slur. I see it as a slur. I see it as a nasty slap in the face. That's just my opinion. Crucible Man.
Wait, Solid, can I ask you why you feel that that's a racial slur before you go on?
Okay, again, I don't okay. Let me clean that up. I don't mean a racial slur. I see it on the same level as a racial slur. I think calling someone a bitch is the same thing as calling someone, no matter what culture they're in. I see that word that low, that it is akin to a slur. That is how I see it, because I don't think anybody should be called that, and I just think it's a nasty word to call anyone.
Okay, so you feel like that about bitch, but do you feel like that about whore or hoe?
Anyone who has been on my show know the 3 words that I do not like. I don't like bitch, hoe, or nigger. And on the same thing, I don't call other people. I don't call Jewish people kikes. I don't say wetbacks. I do not do it. And maybe that's just how I was brought up. I was not brought up in a household where racial slurs were used. My father grew up in the South. Well, he didn't grow up in the South. Half of his life was spent in the South. And racial slurs were just something that, if we use them at all, we got into serious trouble. My mother couldn't even use it, not in front of my father. And I was brought up that you just don't call women these words. You don't call men these words. You just don't use words like that. You respect people. And you can have an argument with someone. You can get into a disagreement with someone, but you don't have to go so low that you're calling them so far out of their name. So, Mimi, Does that answer your question?
I just wouldn't agree that it's on the same level as a racial slur. It is low, but okay.
Okay. Crucible Man, you wanted to answer? Crucible Man?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah,
Okay.
we seem to have shifted this conversation exclusively to how it sounds to call a woman that name. What if men get into an argument and they don't use the B word, but let's say they use a-hole or some other pejorative that really stings and gets to your character? Do men fly off the handle for a certain terminology, or are they focused on the actual asshole behavior that other man is exhibiting? So men also use words that they shouldn't use, and it kind of rolls off their backs. I don't see them getting so worked up over the word. They tend to focus on the behavior. And if we don't focus on the behavior never gets fixed. And you're always going to be having these conversations.
Well, first of all,
What's
I
the
don't think the
responsibility for us?
conversation.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, Solid. I will wrap it up here. Where's our responsibility as people to conduct ourselves in a way such that we don't get pejoratives or epithets directed at us? Where's our responsibility on our end?
And again, this is where I'm. First of all, I did say when I was addressing Mimi that men or women should not use that word. But you keep saying the responsibility. It seems like that the responsibility should be of the person who. How dare you act like that? You need to clean up your act, or else I wouldn't have to call you a bitch if you didn't act like that. Well, again, I say there's two people in this argument, or there's two people. This thing is going back and forth. So what about the other person who, again, I say, who is calling that person a bitch? Where is your responsibility or their responsibility to maybe you shouldn't behave in a way that may cause this person, to what you assume is acting like a bitch. And Mr. A put something in the comment. He says something about men, that if a man, I'm sorry, I'm looking for it. If a man called him a bitch, he would slap him. I'll slap a grown man for calling me a bitch. So I would never call anybody that, playing around or not. So men or women, and whether or not men have it roll off their backs, that's fine. But don't tell me how I'm supposed to feel about a word that I think is just lower than low. Don't tell me how I should feel. I'm going to go to Chill.
Okay, so there's several different layers I feel like that y'all touched on just now, and I'm going to start with Crucible's part because he kind of is addressing most recently. And so, say for instance, I'm a man and I'm cheating on my girl, and she sticks with me, but she's so pissed one day. She said, "You need to quit fucking acting like a hoe." And what I believe he's relaying to you is that you're saying, what about the other person? No, it's not. It's an action that it's a reaction to an action that reflects such. So therefore, if I'm cheating on her and she calls me a hoe, and I get mad because she calls me a hoe. Oh, how dare you call me a hoe? You calling me nice? But so who's wrong or right? It's the what is it? The chicken or the egg now. So I mean,
True.
it's a conversation to be had, but like, dang, what's worse? So I'd rather be called a hoe than to actually get, I mean, I'd rather that. I mean, who would you rather be called a hoe or be cheated on? You know what I'm saying? So it was worse. You know what I mean? So what he's saying, I believe, is that you can't denounce the behavior. If I'm actually acting like a bitch, like to some degree, like, am I being rude and am I being shitty? Am I being, you know what I'm saying? And someone says, quit acting like a bitch, or you're a bitch. That's what I think he's saying. You got to record. Is a reason why you drove somebody to that point.
I mean, Chill, I understand what you're saying, but could that person have also driven you to a point where you could also call them the same word, but you don't, because you just won't go there?
But that's okay. But the fact is that that doesn't make me less or worse or anything, because that doesn't make it worse than the action. If I'm getting cheated on, or if I'm cheating on somebody and my girl calls me a hoe or a bitch, that is what's worse. I mean, if we got levels of it, I would think, like, as a man, you called me, I deserve that. If anything, I deserve that. If she didn't cut off my car, she didn't cut off my genital, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. All right. I am. Let's see. Crazy lady. I'm sorry. You have the mic if you want to pop back on. You were waiting very patiently, so I apologize for that. Bahram, did you want to say something, or are you there, or you're at the gym and you're listening? Okay, I'm assuming he is.
But I
Still
do have
there.
one more thing that I wanted to say in reference to my point initially,
Okay.
because I feel like we can't expect. It's always a chicken or the egg thing. Should we change, or should we refrain? Like, should I refrain from this behavior, or should I, make another person change this behavior? Because I know if this is your culture, you're just being authentic. You just want to be yourself. I don't want everybody to be themselves around me. And sometimes you being yourself will clash with my way of life. And we just need to be grown ups to be able to say something about it so we can proceed accordingly. But should I really get appalled because somebody called me a bitch and I know they didn't take it that way? They may know that maybe, hey, you don't like it. They may not know. But they wouldn't think, because you're a rational minded person, that if I use this terminology this way in this moment, that you would really be thinking that I'm trying to disrespect you. You know what I'm saying? Especially as a term of endearment. What up, my nigga? And you just stop everything. Oh, hold on. Don't call me no nigga. That's how dare you? How dare you do that? And so now it's like, man, come on, bro. You know me as a person. It's an insult to that person now. You could say you could express some discomfort, but to truly be appalled or just that super rule that's always dangerous to me. Any kind of definitive like ways and stance and no wiggle room, that could be harsh in itself. It's not
Would
a
you would
word,
you
but it's
want
still just
another
as
man
harsh.
calling your woman a bitch? How would you
But
feel if a man
but you're not
called your
listening
woman?
to what I'm saying. That's
Wait,
not that simplistic.
hold on, Mimi. Let
But you're not
Jill
listening because
finish.
no, I'm okay with back and forth because I understand what she's saying. But
Well,
you gotta think beyond what I'm saying, because although that word isn't that, I could be just as offended as that from that word as you would think that I'm trying to offend you like that. I could be just as offended because you should know me, especially if it's a good friend. You should know me. I'm not trying to disrespect you. Like
but
you should know my mood. You're
but
smarter than that, I
but
feel.
chill. Okay, but chill. I understand that. But if again, when you say you should know me, sometimes if you're getting into an argument with people, then they should know you enough not to use certain words. I mean,
Right, but that's an
I mean,
argument though.
right. Okay, and that is what I was talking about. I was
Okay,
talking
got you.
about.
I got so
I
if
was
we're talking
talking
in that
about
context, complete.
I'm talking about the argument. I'm not talking about these are your homies, whatever. But if you're in an argument with someone and you feel that they're acting in a certain way, I can feel the same way about you, but I'm just not going to go there. I'm not going to, in my opinion, stoop myself to your level where you had to go that low. So, Mimi, I am going to get to you, but Shy Lady's been waiting patiently. So, welcome, Shy Lady. What would you like to add? Shy Lady, you there? Shy Lady?
There's no need in me showering. I'll be.
Okay, Shy Lady, you'll have to come back around. Mimi, what do you want to say?
I'm saying if you was in an argument, if your girl was in an argument with another man, would you be okay with him calling her a bitch? Chill.
Jill?
Well, I listen. Words don't bother me. I don't care nothing about what nobody calls me. As long as you lay your hands on me, you
I didn't
safe in
say
life.
what they call you. I
So
said, would you be okay
or
with?
same rule for anything else. My daughter, but I'll that's a teaching moment. Don't let nobody get to you and walk away from them. Now I would address it. Like, you're not just about to just disrespect anybody around me. I'll address it. If you mean it in this context, of course I'm gonna address that. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's just out and about. But at the end of the day, I'll address that because I feel like I need to be a protector. But in the back of my mind, it's really nothing. You know what I'm saying? I just need to. I need to. I'll respond way worse than what it really is, just so I can kind of like lash on, let them know that it could go down if you want it to go down. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be a teaching moment. You see how ignorant people is over stupid stuff. He called you a bitch for no reason. But I won't let them know that. I'll address it.
Okay, Mimi, do you want to respond to that?
You saying that, okay, you contradicting yourself, because you're saying that it's not that deep, but at the end of the day, you're saying that it's disrespectful. So which one?
No. I'm not contradicting myself. I'm saying within context, because I gotta remember the context of what she's talking about. So therefore, in that context, if you're actually really trying to be disrespectful, of course I'm gonna address that, especially if it's to somebody other than myself. Me personally, I don't care. But if you're trying to get at my daughter or my girl, that will definitely make it alarming, because if I know they don't like that, or if you're trying to be a man, that brings different avenues into it. If you're trying to be intimidating, if you're trying to threaten her, or you're trying to disrespect her, that's beyond that. So you gotta go as a man. I'm a man's man. So of course I'm gonna go into like protect mode, lion mode. You know what I'm saying? And so but typically at the end of the day, I know people are people, and long as they keep it at that, it ain't gotta escalate. I'll respond heavier than what I really actually need to, or feel like, just so I can let them know, like, hey, this ain't the one. But other than that, I'm not thinking about it after I leave. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way to put it for me. It's over with. I'm not letting these people affect me. I don't let people affect me like that. I refuse to. And I don't want to teach my daughter that, or my girl that. Like, listen, them people are somewhere doing something, whatever they doing, while we still thinking about them. Let's not give them that energy. That's, you know what I'm saying? You're going to get over it. You're going to feel how you're going to feel. Just let it go. You know what I'm saying? Because it just ain't worth it.
Okay, Mimi, do you want to respond to that? And then I'm going to go to Crucible Man.
You can go.
Crucible, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I guess and this is maybe a little bit drifting off the topic, but what happens when we get into a name calling situation, and we all do it, we're all guilty of it. There's a saying I saw online the other day, and it said something to the effect, we don't listen to understand, we listen to reply. And that's a version of what I'm trying to describe here. If your goal is to actually have an exchange of information or ideas or something with another person, and I know these are heated discussions that we have when the B word comes out or the H word comes out, usually they're between two passionate people who have gotten themselves embroiled in a back and forth. But the minute the name calling starts, and the minute somebody says you're being a bitch, whatever came before that, and probably whatever's going to come after that, gets washed away in the terminology. And now all of a sudden we only hear the name calling going back and forth. Nobody's listening to the merits of anybody's argument. So I think it's a way to shut down a conversation as opposed to elevate one. You don't use that word if you're interested in advancing the discourse or demonstrating any kind of respect for the person on the other side of the table. So that, to me, gets to motivation. And your motivation is not to solve a problem. It's to make another person look bad. And I don't agree, no matter who it is, male, female, black, white, calling people names in the service or under the guise of solving a problem is just what it is, straight up name calling.
And I agree. And some people throw that word out, not to end an argument or anything, but just to be nasty and call people names. Shy Lady, are you there? Shy Lady? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay, because I had come to you. Okay.
I had to put my passcode back in because it went out.
Okay.
Well, I've been listening to the conversation. I got on about 3:37 Central Time, and I've been listening a lot.
lot going on.
Yeah. I just want to say that, some people, I've never really been called that word by any women. Even when I was growing up as a kid, with fights, I don't ever really recall being called the name. Of course, I've been called the name by men I don't even know at a club if I didn't give them my number, or if I didn't want to dance with them, that kind of thing. But it really didn't mean that much to me because, it was offensive, but it's like, okay, is that what you think? Whatever. I don't even know you. You're a stranger. You're going to get mad just because I don't want to give you my number, or, I'm like, whatever. So it really didn't bother me or anything. I'm just like, they're ignorant, pathetic, whatever. But I can't in a way like relate to it that much because I never really had that kind of vernacular going on with people that I know. But it's definitely an offensive word. But I recall when my daughter was she used to live in DC a couple of years ago, and she was in the grocery store, and she was really upset about it. I don't think she kind of like. I mean, she's 22 years old at the time. She's 25 now, but she was just her first time being away from home, and so she's in the grocery store. She had like 3 items, she said, and it was a woman. I believe it was a white woman. She said that was or Hispanic white woman, something like that. And she said that the woman was looking at a magazine, and she had a cart full of stuff. And so my daughter didn't know what her deal was. So she was like, well, let me go get in line. And then the woman all of a sudden said, you bitch, don't you see me standing here? All that kind of stuff. And my daughter was just like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I was like, the best thing is just not to say anything, because you don't know what these people are doing these days. If they're, packing something or whatever, you don't really know. And she was a complete stranger. And it's just like, a perfect stranger calling you out your name like that or whatever, don't even know you over something petty in the grocery store. And so, for something like that, I mean, you just have to walk away. You might be angry, but you just have to walk away. To me, I wouldn't even respond, because I don't know what's on their mind, what they have in their pockets or purse. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
for me, it's not even worth it.
So let me ask this, and this is something that I brought up. I think Chill heard some of it when he came on the show, but at the very beginning of the show, I was asking, using the word bitch, and I'm not just talking about the word bitch. I'm talking about just any word that demeans another person. Do you think that there's a social harm to it? Do you think that socially we as a society are hurting ourselves if we're using, these words in front of children? Do children grow up thinking it's okay to call someone, either racial slur, bitch, hoe, whatever, because they heard it when they were growing up, and they think that now it is normal for them. Just like if you grew up in a home where someone was constantly beating someone up, are you going to grow up being that type of person? So do you guys think that that there are social harms in using words that are demeaning to other people? And I'm going to start with Mimi. Mimi, you there?
You got to come back. My daughter just.
Okay. I will pass it to Crucible Man.
Yes, I absolutely believe there absolutely are social impacts for that. I mean, I grew up in an era where, things were, back in the 60s and the 70s, things were a little more genteel. We didn't have quite the animated, back and forth that we have today. But I remember growing up, my parents never, ever, 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 ever swore in the house. We picked all that stuff up on the outside with our friends. And I remember there was a few times here and there where my father would just say the word like shit. He would never use the F word, and my mother would look at him as if he just committed an outrageous act of patricide. I mean, she looked at him like, how dare you say that word in this house? And so from a very early age, we knew what bad words were, and we did not use them because our parents didn't use them. So it's like you kind of alluded to, Solid. If you're growing up in a household where your father is disrespecting your mother, or if siblings are disrespecting each other, that becomes a normal way of conversing. That becomes a normal way of exchanging information with people. And if kids grow up with that frame of reference, I don't know how you could expect them to get on the outside and be able to differentiate when it's appropriate to use those kinds of words, because we all swear. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with using a vulgarity. It has to be in the right context, and it has to be respectfully used. But yeah, kids are so vulnerable, and they're so impressionable that if they think those words get a reaction, and that's what kids look for when they're young, they're always pushing buttons. They're pushing their parents' buttons. They're always looking to get a rise. How do I get attention? And if they realize early on that by using that kind of language gets a rise out of their parents, gets a reaction from the other person, well, that becomes their go-to, their MO. And that's a very slippery slope because you don't understand why you're using certain language. You're using it because it gets a certain response. And kids aren't smart enough and they're not sophisticated enough to sort that stuff out at that age.
Okay. Now, Bahram said that isn't as big a problem as creating victim culture, that people's feelings are more important than freedom of speech. I say people need to toughen up. Okay. Bahram, can you talk, or you're still not able to talk? Okay. I'm assuming that you are still unable to talk. So Chill, you want to respond?
Hi, it's maybe a bit loud.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Bahram, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
no, it's just what on you go.
No, did you want to respond to anything?
Just again, just to reiterate that I know these phrases and terms and name calling are not good, but I would like to hear more about what people think on what we can do to prevent it, rather than, I think we all agree that some of these terms are disgusting and all that, and it's all about what your limits are and what you accept. But I'd like to see more discussion on what we can do to prevent. Because I'm a freedom of speech advocate, and I know you said that the whole night the conversation wasn't going to go in that way, but I think you have to, because it can be offensive to someone and affect their life. But you've either got to tell that person you need to toughen up, or you need to say that these terms can no longer be used and criminalize them. I don't know any other way. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think there is any other way to deal with these issues.
Okay, and you do bring up a valid point. I mean, people, they are, 100%. You can exercise your freedom of speech, but I think the only way to prevent it is it has to be a personal choice. To me, you have to personally choose not to use certain words. I mean, because you can't, just say, if you use this word, then you're going to go to jail. I mean, you could. But I don't think that would go over very well. But I think in terms of how you're going to stop it, basically is, my own opinion, is people just have to make a conscious choice just not to use certain words. So, Chill, you want to jump in and add anything? Chill, you there? Okay, I'm going to circle over to Shy Lady. Shy Lady, you want to add anything?
Oh no, I'm good. Thanks.
All right, Crucible.
Yeah, just kind of reiterate. I just think socially, when kids are young, they're trying to feel their way through their lives at a very early age, when kids are picking on each other, and so language is important. And I know I said earlier in the show that words are just words, but I think I also said words do matter. And for kids, especially when they're forming their feelings and they're learning how to express themselves, I think it's critical that they be taught not just the proper way to speak to somebody, but that there are certain words that are very hurtful. And like I said, kids don't understand context very well. They're not mature enough. They just know words and they know reactions. And if you're not taught that words matter, then you're going to grow up with kids who are going to say things and they're going to get the wrong reaction, and they're going to be confused because in the past that was the right reaction. But now that you're out in polite company and you're out socializing, you suddenly realize the rest of the world doesn't agree that those words are okay. So you have to be real careful, because kids will pick up on whatever you're teaching them, whatever you're exposing them to, they'll suck it up like a sponge.
This is true. So, so again, I go back to social norms, and, our children going to pick up. And again, I'm not just talking about, words like, bitch, hoe, whatever. I'm also talking about racial slurs. You grew up in a household where, your family is using it, or, you're using it. Sooner or later, you are going to say something to someone, even if it's just once. So I think that I think that words do matter. So Mimi, you wanted to say something?
That's not true. My grandfather has a filthy mouth. Okay, that man will say anything under the sun, and that's just how he is. That's just how he talk. My mother has a nasty mouth, and that doesn't mean, my father and my mother, they cursed a lot, but I didn't go out. I knew that, okay, those are not good words. Just because they use them doesn't mean that I can use them. I didn't go out because I heard my mom saying bitch, hoe, or whatever. I didn't go out on the playground like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. I think it depends on the child.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Do you curse?
Girl, I curse.
Okay, so that's why I said I'm putting you on the spot. So,
but
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to get you laughing. I'm gonna start laughing. Go ahead.
But once I start laughing, but no, that doesn't mean that because I got aunties that you reference other females as hey bitch, how you doing, what the fuck, shit like that, and I don't do that. So I think it depends, not necessarily. I don't think that it's just come from home. You got
Okay, that's
children,
fair.
you got children that's using it that come from a different home. You got people's parents that actually call their kids bitches.
True.
And then you got it's society. Depends on the environment you grow up in. But I don't think just because your parents or the people around you do it, you're going to do it. I think it just depends on the individual, because I have friends that say, reference their girlfriends, or they don't do it to me, but they reference their girlfriends as bitch. And I think I touched on this topic, some similar. I don't remember. We touched on this in your show. I don't know. I don't remember, but I said that. Damn, I just forgot. Solid shit. Now I just forgot. God damn it. Oh man. Okay.
Oh,
Listen,
Mimi,
I got
you
too much
make me
going
laugh.
on.
You make me laugh. All right. I just want to read some stuff in the chat. First of all, Frankie, I did see the 100 points gift you gave me earlier. Thank you so much. And Frankie says this is a really good conversation, and it is. It is. Let me see. We read what Bahram said. All right. So again, let me ask this, and I'm going to start with the men first, and then I'll come back around to the women. So, Chill, are you there? Chill. Okay, I'll go to Bahram. Bahram, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask this of men, and then I'm going to go to the women. What is the worst name that someone could call you where you would really get upset?
I don't really have one other than
you don't have to say the word, but is there a word out there that someone could call you and you would just really you would really get upset?
I had an ex-girlfriend that used to like to call me an asshole, and it really wound me up. So I would have to say that one.
Okay, why does that word bother you?
I think it was because what I meant was when I had this ex-girlfriend, I used to do everything for her. I was a really good boyfriend, and for her to call me an asshole, it was like, hold on a minute, I'm doing everything. Like I do everything for you. I'm a really good boyfriend, and you're calling me that. I think it was just that. I don't know. That one's kind of stuck with me.
Okay, all right. Crucible Man, is there a particular word that someone could call you that would really just piss you off?
Not really. I'm not a real big person who gets offended by words. I'm more concerned about what the meaning behind them is. So if somebody were to call me an a-hole or an mf'er or something, I mean, that I don't know what that means. I mean, I might be acting in a certain way at the moment that somebody might say you're acting like an asshole. So that's fine. But in terms of, if somebody were to call me selfish, that would probably sting more than if somebody called me a pejorative, an asshole or an MF or something like that, because that starts to get to my character. And I, we all know each other. We all know ourselves better than anybody else knows us. And if we're being honest, certain words sting us in ways because we see some truth behind them. So if my girlfriend or one of my friends or my mother at the time, anybody who I cared about and whose opinion I valued were to say that I was selfish, that implies a whole lot of ugly things that nobody really wants to have associated with them. It goes off into a bunch of different directions, and it's not a very nice thing. So that would be more my concern, is what is the meaning behind the word? Asshole is just a word, and selfish is also just a word, but it implies so many broader things that if somebody said that to me, I'd have a problem.
Okay, Shy Lady, as a woman, is there a particular word that would just really just bug you and you don't like?
Not really, because I mean, it's like, people judge you. I'm the kind of person, if you get into an argument with me, I will cut you and shred you to shreds without even using one curse word.
Okay, and I know you can do it. I know you can do
I will tear you up like a lion, for real. So I'm good.
And since I know Shy Lady personally, I know for a fact that she can do it. Mimi, is there a particular word that you don't like in particular that you just
Don't call me the N-word. I'm beating your ass. Okay? Do not call me the N-word. That's the automatic butt whooping. Like,
and that's from both from anyone.
That's from anyone. Do not call me the N-word, because
Okay.
I want to share a story that just happened to me coming from the store, but yeah, but I'm not gonna do it. But don't call me the N-word, and don't call me
Okay. Do you want to share the story?
Okay, so this lady at this store, she almost should have just called me the N-word. I just went to the store, whatever, and I was using an EBT card. It's not even mad, but I bought it because food is expensive now, right? So I go in there, and I think I bought my daughter those little donuts and something to drink. And this lady was like, she was like, you using a card? So I was like, yeah, I'm using this EBT card. And she's like, oh, that's my bad. Let me cancel it out. I should have known. I said, what did you mean by that? No. I just should have known. No, that's on me. That's not on you. Yeah, it is on your ass, because what do you mean by that? You almost should have just called me the N-word. You figuring, because I'm black, that's what I'm supposed to be using. And really, anytime I go in there, I spend cash money. So it really just, It really threw me off. And then, y'all, I don't know if I know some of y'all on my not Instagram, but on my Twitter, and I shared another story about me going to an interview, and I shouldn't have went to the interview because I just accepted 2 jobs. But you know how you just already said yes, so and then I don't want to burn my bridges, so I didn't know how to call back and say, you know what, I'm not gonna come because I just accepted these 2 jobs, so I just went anyway. So I go and she's talking, and then she says, yeah, so I see you stay blah blah blah. How's that working for you? And I'm in an upper class neighborhood. So, it's nothing but like houses and townhomes and stuff like that here. And it's really, really upper class. So I was already offended when she said that. But then she says, yeah, so how would you respond to a Karen? Because we have a lot of those. And her being a white woman, I'm like, I started to say, what the fuck is a Karen? Um, it just, why are you asking me how would I thought that was very unprofessional. And, I felt like she was judging me. So, yeah.
Can I ask for this particular interview? Was it retail? Was it? I mean, can I ask?
Yeah,
Like,
it was
what?
retail.
Okay.
And why would you
All right.
ask me about a Karen, and you are a white woman? You
Well,
know
you
what I
know what?
mean?
I probably would have said, I'm sorry, pardon. What is a Karen? And I would have let her explain to me what a Karen was. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, my mom said the same thing. She said, man, you should have asked her, what is a Karen? And I
Because in my opinion, she was being a Karen right then
said,
by saying
yep,
that.
that's what
So
my
okay,
mother
so you
said.
tell me what is
Mhm.
a Karen? That's exactly what I would have done.
Yep. And you know what? I could see you saying, how would you deal with some, people that's coming in here being disrespectful, or,
Right.
you just can't please them. But you're going to ask me, what would I do? How would I respond to a Karen? So, at that point, I just wanted to get out of the interview. I was really, really uncomfortable. It is, I didn't even want to take it that far because I knew I probably, if she would have said the wrong thing, I probably would have said more than what I said in the interview. So
Okay. Bro, welcome. Is there a particular word or any? Yes, I can hear you before you say that. I can hear you. Is there a particular word that would piss you off, or do you just want to add to the conversation because you're coming in a little late?
I know. I'm just waking up. I promise you. You can call me anything except Hello Kitty. Do not call me Hello Kitty. I will be mad. I'm going off. I'm going in. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going in. You call me Hello Kitty.
Okay.
But
Can you please explain that to me because I'm not understanding. So there's something just go over my head.
Okay, yeah. Let me tell you. We were slaves first. Oh, we're Asians. And Hello Kitty looked too much like a black lady to be made by Asian. I think it's something there. Do not call me Hello Kitty. Now, you know who Hello Kitty is, right? You see the pictures of Hello Kitty.
Yes.
And you see the features are Negroidal. Ain't no way Hello Kitty was made by Asian with Negroidal features unless there was some type of stereotype or stigma involved. Do not call me Hello Kitty. All right,
Okay.
don't do it.
Okay. Do you want to add anything else to what anyone else has said?
Yes, I appreciate what everybody said. I was just being facetious. But yes, do you know these stories are real? Mimi's story, Crucible Man's story, the way people treat people today is guaranteed to pull a reaction. Because people like pulling reactions out of people and then all of a sudden turn into victims. I see it all the time. Have you seen that? Where people will say something to you that they know you have a problem with, or do something
Absolutely.
to you that you'll have a problem with, and then they'll say things like, "Oh my goodness, how did you get so offended? I don't see what the problem is."
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, you know, they want to become victims after they do the victimizing. Do not let people get away with that. When she said something about a Karen, it was probably because she was one. And what the young lady would call crucible, man, the reason why she was used to using that word is because she had probably been called one. So, don't let people victimize you and then hide and become victims themselves. Don't let them do it.
I want to say this. I want to respond to that. I don't think it was such as a victim, but I do know what you're saying. I'm gonna tell y'all. Prior to that, I had accepted a job as a manager at. I told you I worked for the post office, and then I accepted a job at Dollar General for a manager position. And the guy interviewed me, and we laughed it up. Man, I mean, people. It was so good that people came back there like, man, y'all are just joking. What y'all got going on back here? Y'all laughing or whatever. So that particular store is down the street from me. That Dollar General is down the street. So he said, hey, I'm going to talk to, I can't say her name, but the lady. And he said, I want to make that your home store. And, you just come here and we'll pay you for the mileage because they're opening up a new store. I said, okay. I said, actually, that's good. And he was like, yeah, because you're going to be 20 minutes away. So I would rather you're down the street from that one. That one about 4 or 5 minutes away. So make that your home store. So I said, okay. So she calls me. She's like, hey, do you want to come in for an interview? I said, oh, I already talked to, such and such. And she was like, oh, you're the young lady. I said, yes. She said, okay, well, just come in and talk to me anyways. I said, okay. So I'm not thinking that this is going to be an interview. I'm thinking that she's just, wanting to talk to me about that position and me coming to her store and making that my home store when I'm not, working at his. So I said, yeah, definitely, I'll come in. So I came in, and I think, and please don't be mad at me when I say this. He was a white man, and I think that because he enjoyed me so much that she was trying to figure out, okay, he's white. What is it about her that he really liked and that he wanted to bring her on as a manager, not just a associate? So I think when I got there, she probably was expecting me to be one of those black girls that are white. Excuse me when I say this, but this is just how I feel. I think she was expecting me to be one of those black girls that, talk white and act white. And I guess when she seen that I wasn't that type of person, and the questions that she was giving me, I was knocking them out. I was knocking the questions out. And she's like, I think she was appalled by that. And so she wanted to get a reaction out of me. And because that didn't get a reaction, she's like, oh, well, I don't know where you'll fit in here. This, such and such. It was just, I think that she was just trying to figure out why he liked me so much. And her store was actually hiring for a assistant manager position. So I would have been the assistant manager there at making that my home store, and then I would have been just a manager at his store. So she's like, you're not about to work closely with me as a black woman, and that's what I just got out of that. I really feel like, and I said that I was going to follow up with him about it, and I was going to speak with her about it. Like, why did you even come at me like that? But yeah, I think that's what that was. I don't think it was a victim thing. I think she just trying to figure out, as a white woman, why did he like me so much as a white?
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to Shy Lady because Shy Lady's been waiting patiently, and she typed in the chat that she wanted to say something. So, Shy Lady, you have the mic.
Well, you had asked the question, what offends you, a name or a word? But something that offended me, and I mean, I've been called the N-word by white people, like it was nothing, because I went to a school that was predominantly white. And when I was a kid, like in elementary school, because I was bused to a white school, but I went back to black school back in junior high. And then I went to a white school in high school. But anyway, I was fighting all the time when I was in elementary school. When I was fourth grade, you call me N-word, it's going down. It's going down. And I got older, I kind of like ignored it because that's when I started using words to cut people down without really even cursing at them. That's how I got real good with that. I was a reader, and I had a pretty good vocabulary, still do. And I would cut people down to shreds, and they would be like afraid they ever even said anything to me. But this is something that bothered me. I wasn't even called the N-word, but this bothered me all my life. When I was in high school, I had a white male German teacher. He was not my regular teacher. This was summer school, because I went to summer school every year so I can graduate in 3 years, because I hated my high school that much because it was racist and I hated it and I wanted to get out in 3 years. So I went to summer school every year. And this wasn't even at my regular high school. So this was at another high school. And I remember, I think it was geometry or math or something. And I remember him, and I was one of like maybe 3 or 4 black kids in this particular summer school class. And he spoke with an accent. This was in the 70s. He could have been a former Nazi for all I know. I don't know. But anyway, he said to me, I was taking a test. I had just finished it and I did pretty well on the test. And he said to me something about what was I going to do? Where was I going to do or whatever after I graduated or something, like what kind of work was I going to do? And I surprised him and said, I'm going to college. And he looked me right in my eyes and said, why would you people want to go to college? In his German accent. And that offended me more than if he would have called me the N-word, that would not have offended me as him saying to me, why would you people want to go to college? That was the lowest thing that anyone has ever said to me. That insulted my intelligence. That made me, he insulted me by saying that, because in other words, he was saying, you're black. What's the use of you going to college? Why would you want to go to college? You'll never be anything. You're nothing. You're 3/5 of a human. That stuck with me all of my life. And that to me was worse than calling me an N-word. I just wanted to say that.
Well, Shy Lady, first of all, when I know people say all the time to people, I'm sorry that happened to you. And I truly say, I'm sorry that happened to you. And again, Shy Lady and I, we've known each other for over 30 years. But Shy Lady, not only are you educated, you go and, you look at your children who are highly educated. And, so as far as I'm concerned, you have proven him wrong at least four times over. So, yeah. And I do have a question following up on that in regards, I am going to go to race because Shy Lady, you said something that I wanted to ask the panel, but I'm going to go to Crucible Man, and then I'm going to check Chill Will again to see if he's there. Crucible Man, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go now that Chill Will is not on yet. I'm going to steal another line from him. And I think you and I disagree on this, but the whole control thing, I think, is interesting. And the way Shy Lady responded, at least internally, to that idiot teacher of hers, what she did, it sounds like, was in addition to being rightfully offended, I can't imagine hearing those words, is she decided she was going to not prove to the teacher himself, but like you just said, she became highly educated. Her children are highly educated. She didn't give this guy control. She got pissed, as she should have. You don't let people walk all over you. But she went out and proved this asshole wrong. So the control thing, she took it back. And even though it wasn't overt, seizure of control, it was the best kind of control. She knew better, and she just wrote this guy off as for what he was, of a complete freaking ignoramus. And look what she has to show for it now. And I know she was not trying to prove something to that bigot. That was not her intention. But inadvertently, in the long run, she did just that. She demonstrated the complete opposite of what that idiot was trying to portray her as.
Okay. Chill Will, are you there? I'm assuming he's still helping someone move. Okay, he's there. He's back. Okay, I've come to you several times. Okay, I don't know if you've been listening or what, but do you want to add anything? Chill? Hello? Are you there? Okay, if you're there, I cannot. Oh, you're stuck. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can unmute you and mute you. Let's see. Can you say something? Okay, so he's going to come back on probably. Okay, so okay, he's back.
Yeah, my bad.
I think. Okay, there you are. So, do you want to add anything? Have you been listening?
In general, for the most, in and out, because I got a couple phone calls, so that's what got me stuck. Because when I come back, I can't really. It doesn't let me talk. It takes me off for, doesn't give me the ability. So I did hear some of it. I heard when y'all was talking about the interviews and stuff. Like, if anything reference to people in words, I just don't get bent out of shape. Period. I just feel like any actions of other people to bend me out of shape, I feel like that's a power I'm giving other people, and I need to be a master of my own domain. And so, it's easier sometimes said than done. I'll be honest, but that's when I meditate. That's when I just kind of get over myself and then move forward if it's that bad. But typically, not many people can say nothing to get to me because it's just the mindset I have, and I don't be ready to jump forward. But overall, any kind of, like, especially like when she was talking about with the Karen, like, I don't necessarily know what they may have a. You gotta know people. They may not necessarily mean nothing. She may want to see how you adapt. Because if it was like she said, she felt like I was a real black girl, then she'd be like, all right, well, what if this happens? You know what I'm saying? Do you know, like, I don't even know how you're gonna approach this. Like, I need to know who you are for myself, and that's fair, and she may know that there's a lot of Karens you're gonna encounter a lot of Karens. So I need to know how she gonna handle one. You know what I'm saying? Because depending on the neighborhood, she knows, like, and that's the prime example of somebody playing victim when they
wait, hold on, though, Chill. But don't you think that instead of saying there's a lot of Karens here, her being a manager and professional, she could have said, like Mimi said, there are a lot of people here who will try to disrespect you, or who are just, they complain about everything. Did she have to use the word Karen?
And that's another thing I want to talk about. Where the line at? How we know? Like, that's not really derogatory. Karen, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at somebody that she's not calling me Karen. She may be letting her know, like, hey, there's a lot of Karens here. White and black folks call people Karens. That's not a racially, like, sensitive term in reference to, like, that context. It's like, hey, it's white. A bunch of white people call a Karen a Karen. Like, a Karen is a Karen. I know what it is, but they can call it what it is. It's just what it is. So, how you deal with them? Because there's a lot of them. She could have. How is she to know that she's going to offend you that way? That's another thing. We got to understand people too. It's our job. We not here alone. We got to understand people. We can't just be so selfish to ourselves to where, like, everybody has to bend and submit to our will and how we want to live our life. We're not the only ones here. We got to be able to go. We got to, give and take. So, in perception wise, you can ask yourself, it's the onus on her. She could have did something, but you could have said, what do you mean by that? So who's the wrong or right? And that's often what we come to. Who's the right or wrong party? There's no wrong or right party. That's why we need to communicate. That's why sometimes you got to be the bigger person, the more emotional grown up to be able to fist through those things without getting bent out of shape. Now, if you feel like her intent was ill-willed, or if not, you just really don't know. Because some people earnestly don't really mean anything by it. But I mean, who knows? I don't know the context of it completely, or how, if she said a certain kind of way. But I do know I've been taken out of the way a lot. Like I'll say things or do things, and people take me certain ways, and I'm just like, oh, you are so far off of who I am, and they don't know that though, so I have to explain it. But it doesn't matter because they're so defensive. They're already ready because of their past transgressions to denounce me and who I am, and not even give me a chance. And I'm like, dang, that's not even me. If you really, and so we got to be able to give people fair shots until they just really exhaust their options. Especially if you got to work with them people, especially if it's their family too. Like you got to be able to put that energy. And sometimes people just whatever, sign people off. But when you're thrust in a situation where you got to work on yourself, because I'm a union steward. It happens a lot to like people that become managers. They feel like it's my way or the highway. Everybody in their life, they've been to their will. But when they got it, you can't just be that way when you dealing with other people, grown-ups. Sometimes you may have to be a little bit more, you got to bargain more. You got to be more fair. You got to go back and forth. Sometimes you don't have to, but it's better if you do because it's less friction in the end, So, yeah, you got to watch people's words, obviously, but sometimes intent matters to me. And that's my biggest thing in life, how they're intended. And so I let them know the way you are offends me. And so now if you proceed to do it, then that's different. That's different. But sometimes, why would I ask the person not to be themselves as well, too? That's rough. If I'm a person that used the word bitch or the N-word, and I know personally I don't do that, what makes you so special that I don't use it around you? You gotta hold an affinity that you have, like a mom, or you gotta gain that respect. You might not get, to have me change my whole person just because you're around. You know what I'm saying? You gotta maybe if you come at me a certain way, then I will. But if you come at me like, oh, well, how dare you? Then they might not have it. Like they might not have that respect for you. So I'm gonna just be me, and they know I don't like. So what? No, it's just the way you came at me. Well, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to you, like, but you're gonna go there with me anyway. So I'm gonna be me. So you gotta understand that your actions, it can be both. It's not one-sided. It could be both ways. Can have a reaction, cause and effect.
Okay, and I'm gonna go to Mimi. You want to have a rebuttal to that?
I agree when you said that you can't you don't tell a person how to be. And I actually had a young lady on my show. Matter of fact, you were in there and Solid was in there. I'm not sure who else was in there, but she was saying the word bitch. And Solid did not like it. And I had a discussion with Solid off the show, like, I don't like the word, but I cannot tell her how to be. Long as she's not disrespecting anyone on my show, then you know what I mean? That's a different story. Once she started disrespecting people in the chat, or she's actually calling somebody a bitch, then, I'm going to say something. But I'm looking at her, and a lot of other people were looking at her, and I did get messages about, wow, this girl is ghetto. Or, just how they felt about it. And I told them the same thing. Like, she wasn't calling anyone a bitch, but, I can't tell you how to talk. If that's how you talk, that's how the fuck you talk. I'm not mad at you. Like, that's just how you are. Now, with the whole thing with the Karen, I do not agree. I don't think you should have said that in the interview, because that's just like me asking. You said white people call people Karen. The word came from, first of all, it used to be Becky. But this new generation.
And before that, it was Miss Ann.
Right. So it was those two words before it was Karen, and black people came up with that word in reference to white people being doing something and then playing victim. Okay, so first of all, I'm not going to be in an interview as a manager and ask you, well, how would you respond to a black person? I'm just not going to do that. I think that was very inappropriate. You asking me what I'm going to do about a Karen. How would I, respond to a Karen? That's, still it's racial, you know and that's how they use the term now. That term is used for a white woman that's doing something and then playing victim, period, point blank. So I just feel like she shouldn't have asked me that. And then too, I knew it was there was a lot of other things that she did as well. Her looking at my nails and like, oh, how are you gonna work with your nails? And which my nails is not that long. And then on top of that, why are you interviewing me when I already have the job? You know what I mean? Only thing I will be doing is coming to your store and working. So you're interviewing me all over again when first of all you told me just to come in here and talk to you. Now you're interviewing me, asking me for a resume. Why do I need a fucking resume? Or why are you interviewing me when I already got the job with him and I'll just be coming to your store? I'm already in the company. So that pissed me off. And I feel like she was just challenging me. Like I said, you're trying to figure out why he liked me so much. So now you're trying to figure out, is it, was I a particular way? That's just me. That's just how I feel, that just how the whole interview worked, just how it went down. It was just too much for me. And the reason why I didn't ask her, you said that I should have asked her. The reason why I didn't ask her, because honestly, in certain situations, and I'm not saying all, in certain situations, it's her word against mine. So, if that would have led into her saying, well, she got offended, I said this and blah, blah, blah. And now he looking at me some type of way. That's why I didn't call him about it. And I didn't say nothing to her about it because I felt like it would have went the other way. Now I just lost out on another job.
Yeah, so I that right there, I completely agree. As far as what you felt like it already was kind of blessed, like, or just kind of like came with a negative connotation. The whole meeting, she was kind of on defense. But for me, what I learned is that it might not have been you. It could have been a dynamic between her and him, and like a power struggle. Technically, if she was gonna be your boss, she had the right to ask you certain questions, right? Even though you was hired. If she was, and I don't know if she's your boss, like if she's not your ultimate boss, but we got like you got managers, then you got branch managers, then you got regional stuff like that. So technically, somebody's over you that might want to get to know you. But if it could have been a dynamic that's between her and him that you ain't got nothing to do about.
No, they're cool. They cool.
That's cool. You saying that, but do you actually know how they real relationship? I don't know.
Well, that's what he mentioned to me, and she's mentioned it as well. But my thing is, you missing the whole point. Who the hell says that in the interview?
Correct.
You asked about a Karen in an interview. That is used as a racial thing, as a white woman, not a black woman. Not a black woman, okay? That is used as a white woman doing something and playing victim. Who says that in an interview?
I don't necessarily know. I would call that racial, though, as I'm saying. I mean, it is, but I don't to that extent. It's not like saying, how would you deal with black people? It's not saying, how would you deal with a white person? It's not saying, how would you deal with she probably, if say, for instance.
Chill. Listen to me.
In that context of what you're saying.
Listen, though. That, I'm saying, that term is used for, if you ask anybody, that term is used for a white woman, not a black woman. We don't use this on black women. They use a Karen as somebody that does something that's playing victim, always want to call the police and things like that. If you look that up, that's what that is. So she knew very much well what the fuck she was saying. And then my thing is, like I said, the neighborhood, if it is, predominantly Black people that comes in there steal, I wouldn't be as a manager say, well, Black people come in here and steal all the time. How would you deal with that? No, I'm not going to say that in the interview. I'm going to say, hey, it's people that comes in here and steal. Or, have you ever been in a situation where a person has stolen something from you? How do you deal with that? There's ways. I was always taught, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And sometimes it's the other way around. And
Okay,
she
I
could have
understand
worded
that.
it
So you saying
differently.
you're offended by her? Do you feel like she was trying to relate to you in a certain kind of way? You know what I'm
Hell
saying? And that she
yeah.
shouldn't have.
Yes, I
Okay,
am. Yes, I am. I
but
felt
that,
like,
but I get what you. So I completely understand. First of all, I know what a Karen is all too well. I've dealt with them all my life. Period. As a Black man going into any place, so that's overstood. But that has nothing to do in reference to her saying that you're gonna deal with a lot. Thinking in her head, you're gonna end up dealing with a lot of these. And if in my head, she's like, oh, she's super Black. You know what I'm saying? It is just being honest for her. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's
exactly. So
appropriate
you
or not.
stereotype. Wait, you just said it yourself.
No,
So you
I got you.
stereotype me.
No. You're right. I'm not saying that you don't have a right to feel how you feeling. But to be honest, I need to be honest with myself about how I don't know you. So I don't know if you that way. So I need to ask you these questions. If you don't communicate, how are you supposed to know these things? And
What?
maybe she didn't do it. You gotta ask questions. Now, maybe the way she, like you said, it could have been a different way she communicated, but she wouldn't necessarily feel like she was coming at you. She was like, Black, I know it's a lot of Karens. And like I said, white people and Black people call people Karens. Whenever you see a video, a lot of times white folks come like, why are you doing that? You're acting like a Karen. And the Black person saying the same thing. So it's not
No. You're saying that she should have, because she doesn't know me, she's going to ask. So, wait a
of
minute.
course,
Wait
I'm
a
gonna ask how
wait a
you
minute.
handle these type of people that
So you
typically
think
come in here.
people in interviews is asking how they deal with Black people? Do you think that's what they're doing?
So if I'm gonna have a job, and I know you got a lot of ghetto Black people, and there's a white person coming in, and I'm about to give this person this job. They predominantly like on, like say Cleveland, 55th and St. Clair. I worked at a U-Haul, and the white person's about to. If I know you super right, you from the suburbs, you ain't used to dealing with Black people. That has nothing to do with race. Like technically, like it's just about how can you.
Yes, it does.
In reference to well, listen, hear me out. In reference to know how you deal with another culture that may be different from what you used to. I would like to know that, because that's what we get thrust in situations and it ain't successful. It's nothing wrong being honest about who we are and our differences. We can celebrate that. There's nothing wrong with that.
May
I'm
I
not
say
I'm not
something?
being
Wait,
wrong for doing that.
May I say
Okay,
something?
can I come in here for a moment, because I've actually been just listening to this, and you guys are both fascinating me, but you guys are getting into a area where I'm actually going to do a show on it. But Mimi, I'm going to let you respond, and then I'm going to say something to Chill. So Mimi, go ahead and respond.
I'm appalled. I'm really appalled. No, seriously. He really just messed my head up, because first of all, and I turned her down. I actually called her. I waited till I got home because I didn't want to do it in there. I don't like confrontation. I really don't, so I waited till I got home. I waited a couple of hours and then called her and said, you know what, I'm just going to turn this position down. Just by you asking me that question, that lets me know, first of all, you're going to be looking at me. Because she said, bring your resume in here by Monday. And she said, Dylan he already wants you at his store, blah, 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 blah. She's like, I don't know where we'll place you here, but just bring the resume in, and then I'm going to talk to my general manager, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I said, before I even go through that, if you're going to offer me the position, if you don't, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not even bringing no resume in it. I'm going to turn that down. I'll just stick with Dylan. But my thing is, you're saying that you would ask a person how they would deal with someone that's a different race, I think that is so inappropriate. There's a way that you can ask that without coming out and asking a person, how would you deal with a black person? It's how would you deal with, different cultures? Are you familiar with different cultures? Do you have other languages? Just certain shit you just don't say. And I think that was very inappropriate in an interview. You're going to ask me about a Karen and you're a white woman. I feel like you was trying to get a reaction out of me. Period, point blank. There's you could have asked me, have you worked with different cultures before? It's just a way that she could have went around that.
No, that's what I'm saying though. That's what I was letting you know. Like I get what you're saying, but some people they may have that be tactful like that, have that much coof. But my point is she might not have meant nothing by it. But you know what? You got way more backup as far as the know that she probably didn't mean it in that way. She was a malicious intent. I was just thinking about that situation in general. Because I wouldn't think nothing wrong with anybody saying, hey, if I noticed the hood, and like I said, because I had to do it, I had to hire a white person that definitely don't be around black people, and I had to ask them, well, how you gonna deal with these ghetto black people, dog? You know what I'm saying? For real. Like, I mean, I want to know how would you give me an example how you gonna, because these, I could ask them that. Not to say he can't. Maybe I don't know, so I'm not misunderstood. They may have a whole bunch. They might be in the hood every day. They might be in the trap. I just need to know that. Let them know that, hey, it'd be a lot of crazy people that's coming up in here, man. I need to know how you gonna handle them. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta have a little umph on you. You know what I'm saying? You just can't let them run you over. You know what I'm saying? And to be forward, you might just be like forward with it. Say, hey, there's a lot of crazy black people becoming here.
Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, hold on, because my show never goes to 2 hours.
Oh, so, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to go around the room like I always do. Let everybody put in their last words. If you want your last words to be a rebuttal, you are more than welcome. But I'm going to start with Bro. So, Bro, do you have any last words? Because I've just been fascinated between Mimi and Jill. Do you have any last words that you would like to add?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Bro.
Okay,
because I always got to ask you that.
I know you do.
Let me just say this. Do you remember the Rodney King beating in the early 90s?
Yes, I do.
Okay, when they asked Rodney King, what do you want to come out of this, for the most part? He said, can't we all just get along? Now, his eyes have been beaten out of socket. His head had been bust open. Everything that could be done was done to him. Ribs broke. But that type of behavior, that type of mentality has been with us since slavery. We are conditioned to behave inappropriately. Most black people think that it's intelligent. Listen to me, Salad Glue. We think that it's intelligent to compromise on how people deal with us, through racism. Check this out.
Absolutely.
Do you know when that lady said what she said to Mimi, Chill Will said, yo, you should be cool with that. You should be cool, you should be cool. Now check this out. Do you know if you say certain things to Asians, they go out and get bills that are passed that make doing anything to them, make them an endangered species. You will go to prison forever. Jews will say to you, we will cancel you, and we will have other black people condemn you for what come out your mouth. But we're the only people who think it's intelligent to accept anything from anybody. We think we're being intelligent when we make excuses for trash who treat us like trash. I'm sorry.
No. And I agree with you. And that's why I have been literally writing to congressmen and governors. And I wrote a very powerful, somewhat nasty letter to the president of the United States. And that is why I am 100% again for, and I'm going to say it. I know everybody's not going to like it. For an economic black boycott, because you are absolutely right. They get out there, other people get out there and they get their bills passed or whatever. And we are the ones always sitting around forgiving people. And it just pisses me off. And I know people don't want to hear me say it, but we have a lot of power. We have a lot of power in our money. And bro, I am with you 100% on that. I agree with you 100%.
Thank you.
So, okay. I am going to go to Crucible Man. Any last words that you would like to say?
Yeah, I think it's appropriate when I think it was Mimi who was saying, or maybe it was Chill, was saying, if you're going to hire somebody to work in a certain environment, and it goes both ways. If you're a white hiring manager and you're hiring a black employee to work in a primarily white store, I think it is appropriate to ask questions about how comfortable you are, not necessarily specifically with white people or Asians or anything, but are you comfortable with working with different cultures? Different cultures handle different situations differently. Are you comfortable that you could handle a diverse clientele that's maybe different from the one you're used to dealing with? So I guess if you're going to ask one race that question, you should ask both races that question, because we are very different as races. And I know I'm stating the obvious, white and black people, we respond to situations differently. We handle problems differently. And I think it's okay to say, you're like Chill Will said, you're going to be working in a black store. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with handling situations with a race that is not yours? So I think those are perfectly reasonable questions. When we get them in the hands of clumsy managers, stupid managers, and yes, in some cases, racist managers, it comes out completely wrong, and it turns into a whole racial discussion when you're actually trying to find out, do you have the appropriate skills to diffuse situations, solve problems, rise above the color of skin, and simply treat everybody the way you would want to be treated, with the goal towards solving a problem, not focusing on the race of the person that you're dealing with. But I think it's a fair question.
Shy Lady, any last words?
Hey, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Shy Lady?
Yeah. Last words. I did enjoy the dialogue between Mimi and Chill. I do want to say that I totally understand. I see both sides. And the reason why I say I see both sides, I see Mimi's side, where she feels that the woman was offensive, and I think everything that Mimi said about the woman probably was she was probably an undercover racist, and she didn't tactfully say to her what like some of the people said. It could have been said in a different way. But I want to say about the whole thing with the Karen issue and what Chill was saying. I've seen so many things online, like Chill said, videos, so many white people labeling other white people Karens, and I've even seen them calling men Kens, and I'm like scratching my head like, wow. So white people are now calling other white people Karens, and I just want to say that, and this is not to be offensive to anyone, particularly white people, but it's the same thing when I hear the word woke. Black people probably, even before the Childish Gambino song was out, were talking about staying woke. We were using that word to say, we need to be aware of where we are mentally, even our environment. We need to stay awake. Don't let them catch you sleeping. We need to watch our backs. That's how we came up with the term woke. But I cannot read a newspaper online without seeing a white person in politics or even in sports use the word woke. And when I hear it, I'm like, that's not woke mean. That's not what woke means to Black people who came up with it. You're using it in sports. You're using it in fashion. You're using it in, like I said, politics. It's like white people have taken the word woke and totally dismantled it from what we came up with it. It's like, that's not what woke means for why we came up with that. That's not what it means. And it's like, to me, woke is like Karen now. It's like a word that now white people just use interchangeably to make a point about something. And so that's all the piece I want to say about that. And then one more thing is that as far as this woman at Mimi's job or the other store, I was working at a a insurance company, probably one of the richest insurance companies in the world. I retired from last year, and when this whole George Floyd stuff was going on, our management came to us and asked us, and this is a group of people that are different ethnicities. What do you guys think about all this stuff that's going on? This George Floyd thing. What do you guys think about that? And then they wanted to have conversations about we need more diversity, inclusion classes. We need to talk about this more. So I think that this woman should have maybe approached her manager and said, we need to discuss these things because this is what's going on now in America. And I remember people, white people, coming to me and saying, oh, I am so sorry that this is happening. This is just awful, blah, blah, blah. So I just want to address both people, that I understand, where Mimi was coming from, and I understand where Chill was coming from. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, Mimi?
Ooh, Charlie.
Do you have any last words?
I think I'm gonna do a show on this because this is crazy. I just first I got a lot to say. I want to go back to Revolutionary, bro. I just really I gotta give him a round of applause because
I'll give him his round of applause. So
please.
let me see. All right.
Thank you. Because
there you go.
Thank you. My God. Because us, the black people, he ain't lied. We really don't have a problem with nobody. They have a problem with us. We as black people, we don't have a problem. We let a lot of stuff slide because it's not us that have the problem. They have the problem with us. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we are more accepting to it, I guess, because it's been going on for so long. So we just like let it slide, let it go, and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not letting nothing slide because you know why? If it was the other way around, she would have reported that. Okay, she would have reported that if a black person asked something like that in the interview, a white woman would have reported it. So as a black woman, I'm going to report it. I'm going to do the same thing that they do. And I don't mean to offend nobody, and I'm not trying to be rude, but they will report that. She asked me this in the interview, and I was very offended, and blah blah blah. She would have said something about it. And as black people, we just let it go. You know what? Man, forget it. I ain't finna even go through all of that. And I know y'all, some people that heard me on my show, that was just like the whole incident that came with the young lady we were fighting in the hair salon. I end up getting into a fight with a woman that pulled out some scissors on me while my daughter was there, closed the door, and we fought. But you know what? The police didn't do anything. You know what they told me? Hey, we're just gonna send it to the courts, and they'll decide whether they're gonna lock you up or not, whether they're gonna lock her up or not. And I'm thinking in my head, like, are you serious? That is assault with a deadly weapon. Now, if there was a white woman, they would have locked me up. I would have been in jail. And I just seen a video where a young lady I think she threw the register. It didn't hit the lady, and the lady was white. She threw a register at her, and the police pulled up. And the black lady was walking out the store, and she said, "Arrest her." The white lady said, "Arrest her, arrest her." She threw that at me. She threw a whole register at me, and the black lady said, "No, I just wanted my keys. I didn't do that." And the man said, "Yes, you did. Yes, you did." And he put her in handcuffs. No questions asked. Soon as he pulled up, he put her in handcuffs. So I'm thinking, like, how you going to tell me you're going to send that to the courts? Because I felt like since it was a black on black, he didn't give a fuck. excuse my French, he didn't care. You know,
Okay.
two black women fighting, didn't care. So I say that to say, yeah, I feel like we as people, we just let stuff go. Now, to go to Crucible Man, I don't agree with you. I don't agree. I don't think that you should be asking those type of questions in no interview. You know, there's ways around that. Hey, you know, you know, this is a bad neighborhood. You know, how would you deal with this situation? They have actual list of questions, because that's what he had in an interview. He had a list of questions, a piece of paper that he was asking me questions off of, and he was writing it down. Did she write it down? No, she did not. Did she have a list of paper, a list of questions on a piece of paper? No, she did not. That was
Mimi, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we only have literally like 1 minute left, and I want Chill to have his last word. So Chill, I'm sorry, and
it's all good.
I'm actually changing.
I love the passion. I love it. It's good. I love passion. It's all about understanding for me.
All right. Well,
you know, for me, it's about understanding. It's no wrong in writing these things. It's people have real passion about what it is, but we all can say that as intelligent people, it's different aspects and different outlooks, and that's the only thing I was trying to bring to play. It wasn't nothing about, because it's not like carrying this word nigga or kike. That's not that level. So I understand what Revolutionary was trying to say, and I couldn't agree more with him, but that's not. It's different. And so sometimes we get caught up in our own passion, and we make some things that may be similar, a little bit different. That's a whole different. Karen and the word nigga or like, that's not the same. In this context, I think I'm not even disagreeing with Mimi, really, to be honest, because what she felt from her overall, it was the scope of things. It was a series of things that led her up to that. So she has a right to feel that way, and probably was right. But I was just thinking to myself that if she was really trying to address a situation, she probably did it wrong. But that doesn't necessarily mean you can't address that situation. Like Crucible was saying, you got to address those things. You just can't put people in a fire and set them up for success. That would be bad hiring practices on her part. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, she did let it go. You talk about forgiveness. There's nothing wrong with forgiveness. But you put things in context. Black folks all should know forgiveness because of what we've been through. That's why we're forgiving. That's why we're accepting, because of what we've been through, how we've been misunderstood. So how can you be a person and then do the same thing that other person do with you and show that misunderstanding or just that hatred? You don't want to be that person. So you want to be better than that person. But I'm not saying just to bend over and just get ran over. Of course, it's context, people. Y'all making it seem as black and white. These are not. You know. So, but I get it. But it's a great show. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have never taken my show to this long, and I don't want to be cut off. You guys, I'm totally changing the topic for tomorrow's show. This is going to be a continuation, because I do have some questions that I want to ask. So again, thank you guys for showing up. Chill, thank you so much for coming on, and to Shannon and to Juju and to I think Crucible Man, and of course Frankie. Thank you for the pod beans. But I never take my show to 2 hours because I never hate to just be cut off. So guys, I hope I see you tomorrow. I'm changing the topic of my show. I'm going to do this right after I tune off. So thank you guys for coming. Speak your truth, go where the wind takes you, and I truly hope to see you tomorrow. Bye. And I'll take the music on until they cut me off. Chill, thank you. Bro, thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, the show does not work without everybody putting in their 5 cents, 6 cents, 7 cents. Shannon, thank you again for another gift. And bro, please show up tomorrow on time, because I'm definitely changing the topic of the show, and it is probably going to get heated.
Okay, and I will definitely
because I am going to talk about race.
I got the nemesis, and you just put it together. You might be Howard Cosell. You might just put Ali and George Foreman in the ring. You just created a nemesis for me. Tell well, I will be on there tomorrow.
All right, bro.
All right, have a good one.
You too. And that guy in Jill, thank you so much for coming. And Poop, thank you for showing up. I went 2 hours. I never go 2 hours.
I know this is rare. I'm very marked this on my calendar.
Hey,
The longest you ever went was like an hour and a half.
that conversation between Mimi and Chill, I didn't want to cut it off because they were going back and forth and they both had something to say.
Exactly. You know, let me say this. Just because you have something to say don't mean it's the right thing to say.
True, but I still want to give everybody
And I
their
do
props.
too. And I do too. But I believe that once you put